So the biofuel that I'm going to cover today is animal waste. An introduction and kind of a background for animal waste as a biofuel. It is a relatively reusable biofuel and it is easily accessible. Farms and primarily rural areas can easily utilize animal waste as biofuel. Manure is super rich in minerals and organic compounds, which include carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen, oxygen, and sulfur. Biomass power plants and other industrial sites that use animal waste for biofuel can use this manure's organic material in order to generate the energy. As I just stated before, animal waste is relatively easily produced and cultivated. Farms and industries with a large amount of animals can easily access this energy. However, the way that it is actually converted into energy is the quote unquote tougher part. The manure goes through an anaerobic process, which allows for the methane gas found in the manure to be cultivated and then transformed into energy. As the animal waste is in the absence of oxygen because it does go through anaerobic digestion, it allows for the other organic materials in the animal waste to become more prominent. For example, the methane that is released through the anaerobic digestion is actually a form of fermentation, which allows the methane to convert into energy without the help of oxygen. As far as still being in research or development, or if it's widely available, it is pretty much widely available. However, the countries or on a smaller scale, regions that really utilize animal waste as biofuels are very rural areas with not a lot of carbon emissions from other types of products. They mainly get all their biofuel from farms. Um, Due to the amount of waste that is needed for the mass scale for biofuel, its carbon footprint is going to be prevalent. CO2 emissions will occur from animal waste before it is even turned into biofuel. A study in 2018 stated that Ukraine alone had over 97 million tons of animal waste, primarily for biofuel. Now think about all the countries across the world utilizing animal waste. This form of biofuel is used on a global scale, which in return leads to a relatively big carbon footprint. I mean, agriculture alone is already 11% of CO2 emissions. As far as the economic impact of the biofuel, it is not the number one source of biofuel in the world, so its economic impact is not necessarily heavy. However, with its use rising year by year, it is easy to estimate that not only will the fuel have a large economic impact, but the animals will as well. The one thing that is needed to make animal waste is the animals themselves. And as I read through articles explaining how the economic impact of this biofuel can extend all the way back to its source, obviously making animals more expensive, which would directly impact the price of meat and other products cultivated from animals. Any efforts to, oh, I'm sorry, I can't see this thing. Oh, describe any efforts to communicate the use of the biofuel to the public. I'm sorry. Well, from what I read, the use of biofuel is kind of a double-edged sword. As you can see from the pictures I put, um, biofuel is harvested, or some sorts is harvested from acts such as deforestation, which utilize the wood or wood pellets for biofuel. So, yeah, I can't find where I was writing about that. I'm sorry. In my analysis, it is evident that there will never truly be a right solution. For every person's right idea, it is another's wrong idea. The fact that animal waste can be a cleaner use of fuel used for energy seems like the right step to go. Animals play a huge part in our lives already as they provide food, clothing, fertilizer, and now even energy. Since animal waste would be a cleaner CO2 emission rather than just straight fossil fuels from cars, I do not see why it is not a widely utilized tool. It is not necessarily the fact that funding is a problem. The real obstacle in the way of animal waste becoming the supreme source of biofuel is the fact that there's not enough rural areas for animal waste compared to the accessibility of other fuel sources. As long as industrialism is at its height, fossil fuels will continually be burnt and emissions in our atmosphere will not get any better. And and then these were the sources that I used. Thank you.